Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ladies, gentlemen, gamers, and fellow League of Legends lovers, enjoyers, enthusiasts, and patch note awaiters. Welcome back! It's been about 2 weeks, and I think everyone knows what that means. Now, technically, it's been about 2 weeks and a day because the patch notes came out yesterday, but I was so busy being employed and being sad and doing other things that I didn't have time to go over it. But we're here again for hopefully another quick patch notes rundown. Now, some important things to go over. I'm hoping. Now, I was actually going to do this in the morning before I went to bed, but it was really early. It was like 3, 4 a.m., and I was like, ugh. I took a look at the patch notes, and there seemed to be quite a lot in this patch, at least balance wise. Not really anything major, like, system wise or overarching, but balance wise, I was like, okay, damn, they're kind of touching a lot of people. But, I was like, it's too early, and my patch notes are meant to be not like they used to be, which is like, 2 fucking hours. They're meant to be quick ish, very casual looking at. Now, I could do a more in depth one if people want me to, although I don't know how many people want me to. But for some odd reason, these still somewhat get views, and I'm pretty shocked by that. So that's partly why I do it, also just to get my opinion out there, because I know I'm going to look at them anyway, so might as well record it, right? Either way, we're here for patch 26.4. We are continuing the Demacian region. There is some stuff to definitely talk about, some outliers, at least in the ADC role, that I know of, because I have been playing ranked, and I will say personally, and I'll show this off here too, I am Plat 2 again. Whoa! Ignore the TFT rank. But, I am Plat 2 again, so there's that. So I still am relatively good at the game. Although, there has been controversy in that there's been massive, massive LP gains and very little LP losses. I think it's getting smoothed out now. I think it was more of like a beginning of the season thing, and I believe I said this in the last patch note video as well. But yeah, LP gains were really wonky. If you won, you got 30, and if you lost 10. So even with a 50% or probably less than 50% win rate, you were still climbing. So everyone was overinflated as fuck. Don't look that shit up. Anyway, let's get to it. I'm hoping to casually go through this, just look at outliers. I don't want to spend too much time doing this, but let's take a look. So, happy Lunar Revel! Apparently on Tuesday, and I didn't know this because obviously, if people don't know, I am not Chinese, although I play like all of their gacha games. It was Chinese Lunar New Year, although they've been kind of preparing for that forever. And historically speaking, whenever we had like the first patch of the year, we'd start getting like Chinese Lunar New Year skin. So I thought it was in January, but maybe it is at different points in time. I don't fucking know. Again, I'm not Chinese. But Chinese Lunar New Year, from what I was told, was Tuesday. So I guess it's going on now. I don't know if it's a 1 day thing. I'm pretty sure it's a multi-day thing at least. So yeah, there's that. Anyway, in this week's patch, we're kicking off with Year of the Horse with... Oh, is this going to be the legendary? Oh, shit. I think Lillia is finally getting her legendary, which is very exciting. I hope it's good. Everyone needs to watch Exolol because he really dictates and shows like how bad Riot is with their skins sometimes, which is the thing I never thought I'd be saying. And again, this is not anything new. This is not new news. But sadly, it's a department I never thought would get hit. The skins department, the cosmetics department. But hopefully the Lillia skin is good, but I guess we'll see. I haven't heard anything or looked up anything yet. But we'll take a look. So they've got a special appearance for Divine Architect Porcelain Asol. What? And they'll dive into Summoner's Rift stuff, and they have some love for ARAM Mayhem and Arena, and I'll definitely talk about that, as I always do. And then there's the Ionia Cup Clash happening on ARAM this weekend, which is extremely, extremely exciting. Although I know some people actually hate that. For the people that hate that, fuck you. ARAM Clash is one of the greatest things ever, especially for people who are casual. And for me, even though I'm like half casual. But, ARAM Clash is fucking amazing. People are upset it's taking up a Clash slot, but again, I would say at that point just be angry at Riot. Don't be angry at the people liking ARAM Clash. ARAM Clash is great because it's a very chill, casual way for people to get skins, because I'm telling you, sometimes doing Clash with randoms when you have no friends, it is painful. Not only to like play with them, but also to just make a fucking team. Riot's Team Finder fucking sucks wiener. Anyway, you have to go on like a Discord or a Reddit or something, or an LFG. So what do they got? They got larger than average balance patch coming because, like I said, I saw that this morning. I was like, okay, fuck this. I'm not doing this morning. So they're coming through the outliers and unloved champions. We'll see about that. We also look at formerly popular junglers, and they're going to take a crack at that. Okay. So before we really go into it, and the TFT notes I'll probably go into on my own, and I'll look at the skins too, but obviously they're all going to be Chinese. But I like the color. They kind of remind me of Ink Shadow in a way. But we'll see all this stuff. But for the biggest thing for ADC before we go into it, a lot of people have complained about Caitlyn and MF. And I haven't tried Caitlyn, but I have tried MF, and MF to me is like brain dead easy. Like, I thought MF was always good. I just think she's boring, and you kind of need some team fight for her. But they did buff her ult slightly, I think a couple patches ago. And if you buff something like MF ult slightly, it's not really slightly. It's like a multiplier of damage. It was crazy how much they multiplied it. And the whole crit update came out where now crit does more damage across the board. So MF is really fucking good. Now again, Caitlyn, I have no personal experience with, and I haven't even seen her really. But I heard 7-item Caitlyn is basically Doomslayer incarnate, the devil himself, and Jesus Christ walking amongst us once again. So there's all that. So we'll see if those get nerfed. Hopefully some other stuff gets buffed, but we'll see. I'm not going to look at any of these. We'll look at that at the end. So it's winter. So winter sports skin return. Whoop-de-doo. The legendary Curling Vagar, which I think I actually have too. And if I don't, I can easily get it with all this motherfucking loot. I gotta take a chance to show this off, you know. All this motherfucking loot. Look out for that rolling video, God knows when, in maybe a decade. Anyway. So, champions starting off with Ambeezy. We have bonus damage to monsters nerfed. They're just hitting her jungle. Okay, cool. Nothing crazy. And that's kind of the pace I want to go with this patch notes, hopefully. And all the ones going forward, hopefully. So Annie, what are they doing to Annie? They're saying she's disappeared, and I would largely agree. Annie used to be a really, really good champion. Now, granted, her combo was like flash ult, but she used to be really good. Now, what are they going to do? They're upping her base, and one of the biggest nerfs they gave to her was they nerfed her range, but Annie had almost as much range, if not more range, actually, than Caitlyn. Think about that. A little girl throwing fire outranged a sniper rifle, which is crazy. So the Q is getting buffed by 20, not early though, and then the E's getting buffed to 10. That's okay, but nothing crazy here. But decent, decent. Ooh, Aphelios. So apparently Aphelios is really good, even though from what I've been seeing, especially from our Lord and Savior who has returned, I'm a cutie pie. I still think a lot of these ADCs are good, honestly, despite their meta placing, believe it or not. It's just their meta placing kind of shows how many people who are casual or who really don't play ADC or who aren't good at the game can do good with them and their overall power. But, and you know, you could say this about any champion, but I feel like for AD, it definitely hits harder. The meta and the tier placing isn't fully indicative of how good they are, but it generally is. You could still do good with a D tier ADC. You could still carry games potentially as long as it's not Ezreal. And even if it is Ezreal sometimes. But most of the time you could see their relative power and how easy it is to carry. It's not that they can't carry, it's how easy it is to carry from, I guess, a normal person's perspective. Obviously, I can carry with all these. But anyway, apparently they're nerfing him again, which is crazy, but the bonus AD he gets from his passive is going down by like 6. That's fair. He does a lot of damage and he gets a lot of free stats. On top of the attack speed, on top of the lethality, this is fine. I think. Brand Jungle has been smothered, so they're buffing Brand Jungle. Thank God, get him out of support, but Brand Jungle to me is probably trash too, so pick one, Riot. Do you want him mid, do you want him jungle, or do you want him support? God damn it. But yeah, no, this is like slight buffs, whatever. Braum! So apparently Braum is really good, even though I think he's one of the harder supports to play. But if you could play a good Braum, you could be a really good player, but the issue is, and I always talk about this, it's bot lane culture. I think the bot lane culture isn't really, and maybe it's different at high elo or higher elo because I'm relatively high myself in plat 2, by the way, in case you didn't know. The issue is I think he's just not played in the current culture. I think it's mostly just mages, supports, mages who are supports who aren't really, and kind of casters and enchanters. It's rare to see a tank. I have been seeing them a little bit more, which is good, but it's kind of rare to see them. But apparently Braum is too good. I don't know if I fully agree with that. So they're nerfing the damage and the cooldown on his ult. Honestly, it's a decent amount of damage. I didn't know this did this much, but that's cool. But yeah, and the ult cooldown is actually going up a decent bit too, 80 to 100. Wow. Camille. So apparently she's balanced, but she doesn't feel well. So what are they doing? Attack speed is now gained when Camille dashes off a wall. Really? Oh wow, so that's a nice little quality of life thing. That's pretty nice. Is it a major buff? No. Is it a good quality of life for just farming? I guess. And you could kind of trade even if you don't hit the champion. So it's upping Camille's skill floor, I guess. Because now everyone can get it. Cool. Darius. So Darius jungle's not doing crazy. Now it's going to do a little bit more crazy. 2.5 is actually a pretty decent buff. So they're saying he's very weak. So how much is this really going to buff him? Only time will tell. But I feel like Darius is alright jungle. The only issue I have with these junglers like Darius and Brand is that their ganks are really hard to pull off because they have no mobility. They really got to land their shit. Now Darius, it's really you just have to walk up to them and catch them with their pants down. But I do like that there's more variety. I do like that, even though it looks weird as fuck from an old player like me. I like, wow, seeing Darius jungle, I would think you're trolling. But I think jungle is now very easy too, because there's very little room for even invading early with how they've changed it. So I think it's way easier than it ever used to be for players now. So there's that. So yeah, if you want to play Darius, you want to be chill, go jungle. Fizz. Okay, they're nerfing, or sorry, they're buffing Fizz jungle. So wow, they really want more people to go again back to jungle. Jungle has historically been too a relatively hard and unpopular role, which is again why over time, as League has generally done, they've basically been holding people's hand with a lot of stuff. Now they tell you your clear path, they give you timers, they tell you your items, they give you a little pet to help you clear. They kind of reduced invading. Like Jesus Christ, all these things really made jungle different. So anyway, what are they doing? Graves' lethality is too good. So they're giving him more tank in case lethality doesn't work out, which I guess is cool. So the armor per stack is increasing by 3, which is actually really, really big. And even the MR too. Obviously, it's not what it used to be. You used to get the same MR and armor, and you used to be a tanky fuck. But this is definitely a decent buff, because remember, this is multiplicative based on every stack you get. So this leads up to a lot, man. I forgot how many stacks, maybe like 8 or 10 fully. So, 3 is an extra 30 armor. 1.5 is an extra, oh god, what is it? Oh god, it's like 15. 1.5 times 10 is 15. I guess it's just 15 extra MR. If my math is right. Don't judge me. Anyway. Oh, Gwen! I think Gwen is for sure going to get nerfed. I've seen Gwen like crazy. I think this new item... Oh, and one sleeper OP thing, which I'm curious if they're going to nerf, is Tahm Kench, by the way. Caitlyn, definitely OP from what I've heard. MF, definitely OP from what I've played. Gwen, very popular, which is sad because I think she needs to be popular. I love Gwen. But she's a little too popular. But Tahm Kench is also another problem. And Tahm Kench and Gwen specifically are really OP from the item Dawn and Dusk. That item, people are figuring out what to do with it now. And especially on Tahm Kench, it is fucking disgusting. But it's also really good on Gwen, and Gwen is obviously one of the best scalers in the game. I don't want to say the best anymore, but good lord. Late game Gwen, you gotta be scared. So she's being played a little too often. I don't know if she's being played jungle too much. I have seen her jungle personally, so that is indicative that maybe it's too good. But we'll see what they do. So Gwen is basically being a monster. Her jungle nerfs brought her back to power in both roles. They're still overpowered, apparently. So what are they doing? As long as they're not nerfing the passive, I'm okay with this. So the Q is going slightly down, that's fine. It's mostly the passive that's doing the damage anyway, hopefully. The minion damage is slightly up, which I guess is fine. And the base damage of the ult is... Oh, wow, it's kind of giga nerf. But again, you're getting most of the damage from the passive anyway. Well, the base damage is nothing to scoff at. It is a little sad that it's going down by 25, I believe. Holy shit. Yeah, 25 base. And remember, that's for each needle, so that's times 9. Wow, that's a lot of damage. But again, hopefully it's going to be made up from the passive, but this does feel a little stronger than usual. I don't think it's just a slap on the wrist. And the same thing for the Q, too. The Q stacks, like, what is it, 9 times as well? So So you are losing a good bit. You're losing 60 damage. And on this one, you're losing, like, God knows how much. 25 times 9. That's almost 250. And obviously, that's going to be mitigated by, like, MR, but still. Yeah, little aggressive with the Gwen nerfs here. So Hui, I always say the same thing. He's really good if you can use him. He's really annoying, but he's really hard to use. So at that point, why not just use someone else? But if you are a good Hui player, I think you're really fucking good. And it looks like they're buffing him because he's really hard to use, I think. What are they saying? We don't want his buff to wave clear. Okay, so they don't want him wave clearing, so they're giving him basically everything else. They're not buffing like his main kit damage besides the ult. They're buffing everything else. But the cooldown on the ult is appreciated, but nothing crazy here. Ilolo AI. So the base damage on the tentacles is going slightly up. Cool, because scaling is just general name of the game here. Nice. Oh my god, what are they doing to my girl? Oh, barely anything. Okay, cool. So Jinx obviously is a crit ADC hyperscaling marksman, and lo and behold, those are doing really well right now, apparently. So Jinx is one of the poster girls for League. Obviously, we also have Arcane, so they're not going to touch her too much, but they're slightly nerfing her armor growth. I think this is perfectly fair. Just make her squishier. Perfect. Kassadin, his health growth is going down, and his E is also going down. Wow. I have not seen Kassadin at all, but the fact that he could stack multiple tiers is actually crazy. I forgot about that, but I think this is probably more niche at higher elos because I do think Kassadin's decently hard to play. He's a melee, even though he's quote-unquote a magic counter, kind of similar to Galio, even though people don't really play it that way. They just play it just because the character's good. Kassadin's really fucking strong. Like, if he gets going, he's really strong. He's almost like a similar thing to Hui, where if you know how to play him, you are a monster, but you have to scale. Hui is, I think, if you know how to play both, I think Hui is easier. I don't know who has more of an impact. I would dare to say Kassadin, but that's maybe in a Magic team, but it ultimately doesn't matter. But I guess they're kind of nerfing Kassadin for, like, the few people who use him, because I know he's not highly used. Kale! What is Kale doing? Apparently she's, really good. Really now? Huh. So I guess they're nerfing her. Wow, I would not think they would nerfing Kale. I've not seen Kale go crazy, so seeing Kale get nerfed is a little jarring, but apparently she's good. Again, anything late game seems to be pretty good. So Kennen is getting hard nerfed, and I think this character, along with Rumble, is probably secret OP at this point. If not secret OP, they're like right there anyway. So the cooldown nerf, while it is huge, right? This is like 40 fucking seconds, which is huge. You do build cooldown, but like, god fucking damn. If you do have this ult, though, it basically feels like as long as the Kennen doesn't muck it up, the team fights won. So while this is a hard nerf, I would even classify this as a pretty hard nerf. I think it's fine, because Kennen is really sleeper, really good, in my opinion. I hate Lee Sin. Everyone knows I hate Lee Sin. Fuck this idiot. I don't think he's good, but now he gets Omnivamp. Cool. I think Spell Vamp is crazy to see still in this day and age. That is wild. Anything that had Spell Vamp was basically Omnivamp. We used to have items back in the day, by the way, and this was like a decade ago at this point, if not longer, where we actually had items that did give Spell Vamp, I think. I think Gunblade was one of them, I believe. I don't remember, but goddamn. But yeah, Lee Sin's just getting like a touch-up. This is slightly better, but fuck Lee Sin. Lux. Oh, wow, we actually have quite a bit of changes here. So Lux is pretty easy, obviously, and she's not doing well, and she has like a bajillion skins, so they're buffing her. The mana is going down base, which is not a buff. The regen is higher, so you could maybe cast more even though you have overall less. So you can't spam as quickly, but you could probably just get more out, hopefully. The cooldown on the Q is getting equalized to 10. That's better early. Whoopee. And the W is getting buffed by 2, which is okay. I think even though you nerf her cooldowns, besides the Q, the W's whatever. I mean, it's helpful, but it's whatever. And then the Q is probably the biggest one, but that's a nerf late. I think Lux is just the same, if not a little worse. Whatever. I'm happy about this too. Fuck Lux. Maokai. I honestly think Maokai needs a rework. I feel like he's not good. He's only good either because like the meta's good for him, but the character itself I don't think is that good. He's so simple and he barely does anything, which granted at the end of the day, it really just brings up the question. I was watching like a new Maokai skin too, like the new skins coming out are like Demacian themed. I don't want to spoil them, but Maokai is getting one. But when I saw this game, I was like, dude, Maokai is such a simple fuck champion. Like, unless the root and the knock up and then the ult engage is really that strong, Maokai in his kit himself, the E doesn't really matter unless you're laning and you want to be annoying. And even then, it's only good if the items are OP as fuck, like what used to be the case. And then they nerf the shit out of it. It's like Maokai is just so ugh. I feel like he's one of the most boring tanks in the entire game, and he's not even that good unless you just value really reliable CC for like a single person slash slight AoE. I really don't think he's good. But they're saying that he's doing okay and they don't like his jungle, so they're buffing his jungle slightly, which is really fucking weird. But I think that's the only place he deserves to be. I think Maokai's ganks are okay. He has slight mobility, so it's okay. Nafiri. So Nafiri is interesting. I always thought she should have been a jungler instead of a mid laner. Again, she has a really good gank too with that W. Or I don't even remember if it's the W still, but I don't see her often at all. I think she's kind of a hard character too, but as you go up the elos for people who actually have brains and can use her, I think she's pretty good, especially with that like, it's almost like a Master Yiku where you go invulnerable. I think it's really good. But what are they doing? She's too powerful in mid, which is crazy. She can spam mid too effectively. So what are they doing? Base health is down, health regen's down, but not by much. Mana cost is up slightly, and mana cost up. So really just slaps on the wrist. This is nothing. This is just slightly restricting her, but that's fine. Kiana. Slight health growth nerf. Okay, that's fine. Rengar. So Rengar got highly touched from what I remember. Oh my god, that's mentioning Umbral Glaive. And now he's too strong when people know what they're doing, which again was kind of the case with Kassadin and Quay, I would say. But they're nerfing him because Jesus Lord, I feel like they buffed him a lot. So they're nerfing him by 10%, and then they're buffing his base though, which is crazy. And then Ferocity is going slightly up in base and slightly down in total. So he's not scaling as hard, basically. Cool. Rumble. So they're saying he's not in pro jail, even though we'll see about that. But yeah, they're mentioning the bug that was like a long-term thing, by the way, where on red side he was just nerfed for some reason. But either way, that buffed him a lot apparently, but that was a while back. So now they are kind of nerfing his ult slightly in the early game, same late game. I think this is completely fine. This is nothing. They're just slightly curbing him. Rise. Oh my god. So I believe this is from honestly a Hamza clip. Now, if you guys don't know who Hamza is, right, and I don't even know if I'm saying his name right, he's a very funny player, a little edgy, right, a little not for everyone, but I think Hamza's hilarious. He's also an ADC main. I fucking love him. He's really, really funny in the clips I've seen. I've never watched him live, but he's funny as fuck. But there was a clip where he was going into a Rise ult, and he was in it, but he was like walking, he was like clicking around to try and like dodge skill shots, I guess, or something. He was just walking, and the Rise ult didn't teleport him, and he died from it, and it looked so bad. But it was actually intentional, believe it or not. If you were like near the edge and you were pathing out, the Rise ult wasn't supposed to take you because it assumed you didn't want to go. Because a lot of people could use Rise ult to kind of troll you, even though it's very easy to walk out of. But, it's really dependent on, I guess, a team fight. But regardless, right? This is where it looked so funny, and I'm highly convinced it's because of that Hamza clip not getting Rise ulted and then dying and just screaming, Riot! It was so funny. Sammy. Ooh. So Sammy's interesting, right? Every AD should technically be better that goes crit. I don't know about Varus, even though apparently he was a problem. But every AD that goes crit should be better. And Samira loves crit, and the more items you give her, the more lifesteal she can build, the better she should be. But apparently she's not good enough because they're buffing her Q's lifesteal, which is actually really fucking good. And the ult as well. We're almost getting back to what like maybe release Samira was, although I doubt we'll ever get that. But this is really fucking good. Samira's main thing, and especially now that she's been out for a while, I do believe she's not as good as she was because people know how to play against her now. The biggest thing for Samira back in the day was she really did a lot of fucking damage with her Reaper ult. And if she had lifesteal, she would heal a lot. Now the healing feels like negligible. especially if they have heal cut. Like it's just horrible, and it's like it doesn't even fucking matter. So for them to go back to normal with the ult and the Q, I would say these are decently significant. I hope they do it more, but they do got to be careful because again, crit is buffed, and you could build more lifesteal items because of the seventh item slot now. So I think this is good. I think this is really fucking good. But we'll see. But I do want to play Samira more. It's just she works really well with tank CC supports, and like I said, the culture of the bot lane is not really privy to that. So either way, moving forward, Senna. I hate Senna. I think so many people go Senna. I ban Senna because on my team they're not good, and on the enemy team they scale like crazy. So we're gonna see a nerf here, I'm pretty sure. So Senna is getting nerfed by 20. Also, no Caitlyn nerfs, by the way. I just realized that. So Senna's getting nerfed by 20 base, but she's scaling harder, which is exactly the case that she should be. And then the W is getting nerfed to base and then scaling harder. Wow. So I think this is completely fine. If anything, this is what she wants. Nerf her early. That's fine. She's not supposed to do much early anyway. Even if she was, her not doing much early is still fine to me. At least in my elo. In high elo, it might mean the lane is lost. But I'm a big proponent of this. But I think this is actually a good buff. It's a slight nerf, but I would call it an adjustment. This is scary. Swain. Swain is crazy. Swain's biggest weakness is he doesn't scale. Ironic because he infinite scales. But early and mid game, he can just go support, build Rylai's, ult, and if the AD has no escape and no flash, the AD's basically dead and Swain can't die. It is actually crazy. Now late game comes, Swain is nothing. You cut Swain in half. But wow, it is fucking crazy what he can do. And look, they're mentioning here too. They rush Rylai's and perform more of a pseudo frontliner. Yeah, all they do is they just like soak up damage, slow everyone, and just slowly suck them off while they still can. Literally. But this is crazy. But they're hoping to nerf bot lane while leaving supporters unscathed. I think that's impossible. So the slow of W is getting nerfed. That's actually fine. I think that's okay. Although the slow is really good at high ranks, but you're probably ranking this up last anyway, I would hope. But this is okay. And then the damage per second is getting nerfed on the ult, because the ult basically, again, was just like fucking you. I think it's the biggest just item combo, though. I personally think they need to nerf his base stats and just make him scale a little better. But that's just me. I think this is just like a weird change. I think they just needed to nerf his base stats. Syndra. So Syndra's usually pretty good. She is getting nerfed because she scales pretty hard. That's fine. It's not crazy nerfs, though. Teemo. He could go jungle. Twitch. He's getting slightly nerfed. Also, yeah, slightly nerfed. Wow. Yeah, he's pretty good. Again, similar to Jinx. He's a crit scaling ADC. What a surprise. Oh, excuse me. So Udyr is not that good. I still think he's decent. He's not that good. But we're nowhere near like the one-shot Q builds, thank God. But he is weaker. They're slightly buffing his on hit, and then they're slightly buffing his shield. Maybe a little bit more than slight, but nothing crazy. Xayah. Xayah, I think, is low-key really strong. I played one Xayah game in Rift and another Xayah game in Mayhem, and Mayhem doesn't really count. But dude, in Rift, it like I always thought Xayah was sleeper really good. If you know how to do Xayah, I think she's actually really good. She has a really solid lane, self peel, well, kind of self peel, self escape, CC, attack speed steroid, damage steroid with the W2 because it's also attack speed steroid, move speed. She has a lot. Like as long as you could just do the feathers right, I think she's an extremely good, versatile, somewhat self-sufficient ADC, and she pairs well with Rakan, which is an added bonus. But yeah, no, I think Xayah is really fucking good, but apparently a lot of people don't know that. So the Q is getting buffed, the W is getting buffed, which is really nice actually, and then the E is getting buffed. All these are like quality of life buffs in my opinion, because you're gonna build Essence anyway. But I guess you're not as reliant on it, which is fine. I never really thought I had too many mana issues, but she is a caster type AD, even though I feel like she goes beyond that. While Lucian is a more like, traditional caster ADC, I feel like Xayah's like can do both. Like you can't ignore Xayah's autos, and then you also have to be careful for the feathers. Lucian is kind of more ability is gonna do more damage mostly. His autos you can't ignore either, but Xayah's are worse. Just because of the W personally. But this is great. Like, this is more quality of life, but this is great. The W is the biggest thing, obviously. Zach. So apparently Zach is really good. I'm sad I haven't seen him, but I can imagine all these new items are really nice for him. Um, what are they doing? He's also too lethal for a tank. Jesus Christ. So they're reducing his burst. That's fine. So reducing his burst means instead of max health, it's bonus health. That's fine. And then the R is going down in damage by 50. Cool. That's fine too. And that's if you hit everything. That's not crazy. That's fine. Hex Optics. So I'll be honest, this is gonna be the same thing as I'm trying to remember. In Mayhem, they had to nerf and augment because the attack speed requirement was way too high and almost no AD could do it. I think Hex Optics is honestly the same thing. Now, this is where they're lowering it to 500 from 600. I believe they already lowered it once, and then now they're lowering it again to where now, no matter what, I think ADs always get the thing. I don't know who has lower than 500 range. That's like an actual ADC. Everyone fucking has this. So now everyone just gets bonus 10% damage, which is great. And I feel like no one was really using this item because the biggest crux of this thing is you got to get a kill with it to really like get a lot of use out of it. Even though you're still getting bonus damage and stuff and raw stats, but I feel like everyone is just not used to it yet. Now, maybe at higher elos they'll know its strength, but the fact that they're just making it more generally accessible is a little scary. And again, every ADC can mostly proc this damage bonus now. Even though they were getting some damage bonus from it before, right? But 10% doesn't seem like a lot, but still. The bonus range now, duration being extended, is absolutely amazing too. So this is nice. This is really good. People, I wouldn't be surprised if more people use this, they realize how good it is, if it even is good, because I don't know, I don't really build it. But I'll be shocked, or I wouldn't be too shocked if they just nerf it again, because people realize, wait, this is actually good, because people's perception matters a lot. Whether something is good or not, the perception also matters. And that's something Riot has learned over time. So Omnivamp on Summoner spells. Omnivamp will no longer apply to Smite and Ignite. I think that's pretty fair. That's a little cheese. And finally, we're up to Mayhem. So I love Mayhem. I think it's better than Arena. I haven't even touched Arena because the biggest thing with Arena that was cool is it had augments, right? It had a degree of randomness. It was almost roguelike-esque. And it was just fighting. Mayhem is kind of like that, where it's fighting but turned up to 11. It's literally Mayhem, and there's very little downtime. In Arena, you have to wait. You gotta like watch other people's rounds. If you die, you're kind of just sitting there sometimes. A lot of the time, obviously in Mayhem too, you're doing that, but it's a lot less of an extent. I think Mayhem is perfect. I think it's great. I hope they keep implementing tracks to unlock shit. I think they struck gold, and this thing should be permanent. It's already been extended like over 2 months. Like this thing is great. I think this is one of the greatest things ever. Better than fucking Earth, better than all this bullshit. Because all that shit gets old. This shit will get somewhat old too. Everything will. But as long as they provide meaningful updates to it, and they can do meaningful updates to it more so than they could do to Earth ever, I think this is great. Unless they add augments in Earth. If they add augments in Earth, God help us all. But God, they should do like an augmented AR Earth. That would be crazy. But anyway, let's see what they're doing. I absolutely love this game mode. It needs to be permanent. So level 4 reward is going to golden reroll. That's great. Hover delay, quality of life, and then augment stuff. Poro Blaster, you can only have one per team, which is fair. This thing was ridiculous. And if you watch the patch notes for my Rift stuff, you're not going to know what any of these shits are, but I would highly recommend if you like having fun or just have, a little bit of time, this is an amazing game mode. I love this game mode so much. Anyway, the cupcake shit is whatever. The stupid devil on your shoulder is nerfed because that shit was probably killing people too much and it was quite OP. Speed demon is nerfed. Kill secured is nerfed, okay. Make it rain is whatever. I'm not going to read all these, honestly. This is just nonsense. And then there's bug fixes. But I'm glad they're touching it. ARAM, they touched Zaheen. Ionia Cup for ARAM is this weekend. Thank you, God. And then Arena. I'm not reading these because I don't really care about Arena anymore. And then Demacia Rising. So that's the overarching like metagame they're doing. I really liked it at first, and then I hated it because it got very repetitive, and I didn't want to think, and it requires thinking. And then I sat down, I thought about it, and I did it. I'm like, okay, it's not too bad. You just really do have to think, but I hate thinking. So eventually, it was okay. They're gonna release more stuff even after this patch, so not all of it's even out. But once you figure out how to play, it actually becomes fairly routine, fairly simple, and honestly fairly easy. But it's free rewards and it's a lot of battle pass experience if some people need that. But it's an alright event. I think it definitely got old. I think it's whatever. But what are they doing here? Research and events buffs not correctly apply percent damage increase. Nice. Events could stop working. Lol. An allied unit that fought in the final battle will now survive. Cool. And combat music cutting out has been fixed. Nice. So yeah, this is whatever. And there's known issues, but they're probably gonna buff that shit. That's fine. Disruptive pinging detections. Oh my god. No way. Wait a minute. What are they doing? So again, this might be further down the rabbit hole of League of Legends just becoming just more like soft. But let's see. Pings are used for a variety of reasons. They don't always need to be strictly productive. Oh, absolutely. People use them to harass. And I always say this, the culture of League, not bot lane, but of League has highly shifted. They're still toxic as fuck people, but it's nowhere near what it used to be. Because Riot has very heavily curved it. Curved it, sorry. They've curved it so hard, like people should be scared to speak out now. Riot does not play. But either way, they don't like spam pinging, which is one of the oldest things in the game. That is crazy. They'll begin detecting and penalizing extreme cases of sustained disruptive ping spamming. Wow. So, what does this mean? That your ability to ping is going to be reduced temporarily? Okay, maybe I like jumped the gun. That's not too bad, but you know, the biggest question is the slippery slope argument. What to them is excessive? And where do we draw the line and who draws the line? Now, eventually someone has to draw a line, but you're never going to please anyone. And that's the hard part. Some people are going to be okay with this. Some people are going to say it's too far. And again, there's no clear answer. But they're taking the stance, and overall, as restrictive as it is leading, I do appreciate these things because League is toxic as fuck. It's almost one of the toxic as fuck games, so I don't mind them getting like a muzzle on the fucking player base, even if like it limits our frustration reducing things. Like this is a way to reduce frustration, I believe, but you're doing that by causing frustration to someone else, so it's probably not right. Anyway, bug fixes and shit, and then finally the skins. So it's called Petals of Springs. Obviously, it's very Chinese. Again, it reminds me of Ink Blossom. I think they look really good. Obviously, I need to see the in game, but we have a nice Camille skin, which looks pretty nice. We have a Jace skin, which I don't care about Jace, but it looks like almost Garen or something. A lot of the men look the same. We have Katarina, which I almost thought was Irelia for a second, but that's cool. Petals of Spring Lillia, which apparently is the legendary, and I don't know if it's good or not. Petals of Spring Yasuo, very cool, and we saw a little cutscene too. I don't think I reacted to it for YouTube, but I saw a cutscene with Yasuo and Katarina, and I think Lillia was in there too, which was what it is. But after that, we have Divine Architect Porcelain Aesol, which I'm assuming might be in the Mythic shop or something for Aesol. If it is, honestly, I might buy it, but if it's a separate skin, if it's just a chroma, then we'll see. Also, that splash art is sick because that's his fucking body. I thought that was like the Great Wall of China or something. But no, that's his fucking body. But it really sucks too because Porcelain Aesol, while legendary, is fucking horrible. I mean, I've only seen it a handful of times. It is really not a good legendary. But then we have the chromas. Those are the end games. Obviously very Chinese, but very cool. The Yasuo skin looks very nice too. Again, it looks kind of like Ink Shadow. But I'm more curious to see the Lillia one, and I'm curious what the Aesol one is too. But that's basically going to be the patch. I think nothing too crazy. I do think they curved some stuff. They definitely brought people back into the jungle. In terms of anything, I mean, the Samira buff is really nice. The Senna buff is weird, but I guess, like, I agree with it intellectually. In-game wise, I don't like it. And they did nerf a couple of ADs and Gwen, but I don't think they went too overboard. I think this is a whatever patch. I think this is fine. And the patch is out now, too, because I just patched before this. Yeah, overall, I'd probably rate this patch. I just feel like it's whatever. I mean, slightly better than normal because of the Samira buff, honestly. I'd rate it like a 6 out of 10. 5 being completely neutral, I don't care. I'm slightly okay with this patch. I would say 6 out of 10 Marc Merrills. Sadly, we went a little over time. I didn't want to take 40 whole minutes for this, but it is what it is. Thank God I didn't do this. And I knew this would be a slightly bigger one, too, because all the balance changed. But either way, 6 out of 10 Marc Merrills. Hope everyone enjoyed. Tell me if you agree. Tell me if you don't. Tell me what you thought. And if you want to see more of me, watch me at Twitch TV/ Technics channel. See you guys on the Rift. Eee!